In the final episode of Season 2, we saw Aemond throw a tantrum. Damon witnessed the future. Rhaenyra prepared to take King's Landing and Sheepstealer in the Vale. In this video, I'll break down the episode, pointing out any references, Easter eggs, or hidden lore you might have missed. Kicking things off, we have a few additions to the opening credits. We see all of Team Black's dragons, including the ones newly claimed by her dragon seeds. There is Syrax, Vermax, Caraxes, Sea Smoke, Vermithor, Silverwing, and Moon Dancer. Now on to the good stuff. In Harrenhal, Damon sees an antlered creature with hooved feet walking behind the weirwood tree. This is likely a green man. The green men are some of the most mysterious beings in all of George R.R. Martin's works. They were an ancient order of creatures who lived on the Isle of Faces, which is the island at the center of the God's Eye Lake. The Isle is a sacred place for the followers of the old gods. It was here thousands of years ago that a peace pact was formed between the first men and the children of the forest. To commemorate the agreement, all the weirwood trees on the isle had a face carved into them, and the Order of Green Men was created to guard the trees and honor the pact. The books describe them as horned creatures with green skin and antlers, but in truth, we know very little about them, and George R.R. Martin hasn't revealed exactly what they are. Some fans speculate they are a group of children of the forest, or possibly half-human, half-children of the forest hybrids. All season, Damon has been experiencing visions that have been making him question if he is really the right person to rule. Alice urges Damon to touch the tree so that he can understand there is a greater threat to the realm and guide him towards his true destiny. Upon touching the tree, Damon sees visions of the future. First, he sees a figure seated on a great weirwood throne. This is Bloodraven. He was born Brynden Rivers, a bastard of House Targaryen. In his lifetime, Bloodraven sacrificed his honor for the good of the realm, and he eventually becomes the Three-Eyed Raven by the time of Game of Thrones. And it is heavily implied that with his green sight abilities, he has been guiding humanity towards the path most likely to result in their victory over the White Walkers. Damon also sees the Three-Eyed Raven, which is how Bloodraven manifests to Bran Stark in his visions that guided him north of the Wall to train under Brynden. We see the White Walkers and the Army of the Dead. Damon sees a fallen dragon with several more in the background, representing the oncoming fall of both the dragons and the Targaryens. In the books, when someone experiences prophetic dreams, dragons often represent Targaryens, and a dead dragon often foreshadows the death of an important Targaryen. Damon walks through a field of corpses, but upon stepping into a pool of water, he sinks to the depths. A bit of foreshadowing, perhaps. We see shots of the Red Comet, which heralded the birth of Daenerys' 3 dragons in Game of Thrones. We also see her 3 dragon eggs and the moment that they hatch. Next, he sees Rhaenyra on the Iron Throne, implying to Damon that only with Rhaenyra as queen will the realm be united to stop this apocalypse. The sequence ends with Helaena speaking to Damon, saying he is one part in this story, and he has his own role to play, which fully cements to Damon that he needs to throw aside his own ambitions. He was never supposed to be king. He is supposed to support Rhaenyra and her claim on the throne, and in doing so, he hopes that it will prevent the White Walker apocalypse. Helaena seems to enter Damon's visions. In the books, several characters have demonstrated the ability to enter someone else's dreams or visions. Quaithe does it several times to speak with Daenerys. Bloodraven enters Bran's dreams to guide him beyond the wall, and there are also magical artifacts known as glass candles that enable a sorcerer to dream walk and communicate across vast distances. The episode begins with Tyland in Essos. He was sent there to form an alliance between the Greens and the Triarchy, in the hopes that the Triarchy's naval might would be enough to break the blockade of Velaryon ships surrounding King's Landing. But the Triarchy feel that Tyland is not offering enough for them to undertake such a bloody endeavor. They have heard tales of the wealth of the Lannisters and want Tyland to sweeten the pot. They negotiate ownership of the Stepstones, a chain of islands between Essos and Westeros. Whoever controls the Stepstones effectively controls the shipping lanes between the 2 continents. This dispute over trade routes was the reason that Damon and Corlys warred with the Triarchy back in Season 1. Tyland eventually agrees, but giving over control to the Triarchy might lead to future trade wars between the 2 continents. The Triarchy is an alliance between the free cities of Myr, Lys, and Tyrosh. Each of the representatives is easily identifiable. The blood of Old Valyria still runs in the Lyseni, and some of their population have silver hair just like this guy. The Tyroshi were known to dye their beards and hairs bright colors like blue, which leaves this guy as the Myrish representative. The Triarchy will not agree to join Thailand and the Greens without the support of their admiral Lohar. Lohar is played by the YouTuber Abigail Thorne. According to Ryan Condal, Lohar is a female character who presents as masculine. Thailand wins the Triarchy over after a bit of cheeky mud wrestling and cuckoldry. I will admit, these scenes went on way too long. Generally, the episode was a bit lackluster, considering it was the season finale, and we won't get another House of the Dragon episode for at least 2 years. Expanding upon this storyline, while simultaneously cutting battles like the Burning Mill and not introducing characters like Black Aly, is a bit disappointing. Back in Westeros, after witnessing Rhaenyra's new dragons, Aemond grows fearful, frustrated, and unhinged. Unable to process these emotions, he thoughtlessly sets Sharp Point ablaze with Vhagar, killing scores of innocents in the process. After claiming Vhagar as a child, Aemond has felt invincible. No man or dragon could compete with their combined strength, but now he realizes he is vulnerable and lashes out to make himself feel powerful again. Back in King's Landing, Aegon is on the mend, though the true horror of his wounds are revealed. When Aemond burned him, the heat was so intense that it caused his wiener to explode, effectively turning Aegon into a eunuch and likely making him unable to produce a new heir. Larys informs Aegon that Rhaenyra has several new dragon riders and that they need to leave King's Landing. Larys fears that once Rhaenyra takes King's Landing, her first move will be to kill Aegon and remove the threat he poses to her claim, which we find out later is exactly Rhaenyra's plan. Aegon questions what was this all for, referring to the sacrifice that his body has had to endure to protect his claim on the Iron Throne, but Larys says he can still be remembered as a great king. While discussing his potential epithet, Aegon suggests the Realm's Delight, which was once Rhaenyra's epithet in her youth. Aegon's best course of action is to flee across the Narrow Sea and let Aemond and Rhaenyra weaken themselves fighting each other, at which point Aegon can easily return, sweep aside their remaining forces and reclaim the throne. We also learn that Aegon believes his dragon Sunfire, who was severely wounded during the Battle of Rook's Rest, has in fact died. Although we have not seen the corpse of the Golden Boy, and from the books we know the dragon still has a couple of big moments that need adapting, so he is likely still alive. On Dragonstone, Rhaenyra offers the Dragon Seeds knighthoods should they prove themselves loyal. Adam seems the most capable and trustworthy, which is why she takes him to Harrenhal later in the episode, but Hugh and Ulf are relative wildcards. Corlys renames his ship the Sea Snake to the Queen Who Never Was, in loving memory of Rhaenys. The name change also symbolizes a change in Corlys's purpose. All his life he has sought personal glory and had an ambition to elevate his house, but now, at the end of his life, he has found a new purpose, to fight for what Rhaenys died for and support Rhaenyra. Corlys also speaks with his bastard son Alan. Corlys is frustrated with Alan and says he should be grateful for the opportunity that Corlys is presenting him, which makes the stoic Alan blow up. All his life, Corlys has ignored Alan and Adam, but only now, when Corlys has no obvious heir, does he see Alan and Adam as useful. Back at Harrenhal, Damon speaks with Alfred Broom, who states his intent to declare for Damon should he make a claim on the Iron Throne. While discussing his treason, the winds whisper traitor. In Game of Thrones, we saw that while Bran was viewing the past through the Weirwood network, his words could be heard as a whisper on the wind. Alfred is being called a traitor by another powerful Greenseer who has read the books and knows all about Alfred's future treachery. Later, when Damon declares for Rhaenyra, Alfred can be seen slinking away, so take a guess to whom he will pledge his loyalties to next season. In King's Landing, Aemond grows unhinged, demanding that Helaena mount her dragon Dreamfire and go to war for the Greens. Dreamfire is currently one of the larger dragons still alive, but in the show at least, Helaena has little interest in flying and even less interest in burning people alive for a cause she cares little about. Later on in the episode, it is revealed that she has seen Aemond's death at the God's Eye, which is the lake south of Harrenhal. Helaena has seen much of the future and understands that all of this fighting is ultimately pointless in the face of the true threat in the north. Meanwhile, Gwaine Hightower discovers that Cole has been clapping his sister's cheeks. When he sees Cole clutching Alicent's favor, Cole is full-on depressed. He has seen the devastation that the dragons can unleash and believes they cannot hope to survive in the face of such might. All of his life, Cole claims to have clung to the belief that he needs to protect the innocent and uphold the values of being a true knight. But now, Cole reflects upon his past mistakes and believes that no man can live up to this ideal. all men are corrupt. And finally, we get a ridiculously long scene between Rhaenyra and Alicent. Alicent has managed to sneak her way into Dragonstone. Throughout the season, she has reflected upon her life and has come to realize that for all of her righteousness, she is no different to Rhaenyra. She now wishes to support Rhaenyra's claim on the throne, suggesting Rhaenyra take King's Landing the moment Vhagar and Aemond leave for Harrenhal. Alicent also promises there will be no resistance to her taking the city, but Rhaenyra says she must take Aegon's head to cement herself as the unopposed queen of Westeros. Alicent eventually agrees to condemn her own son to death. The season ends with all the various armies on the march. The Lannisters march on Harrenhal, where Damon has amassed his army ready to march. The Dragon Seeds prepare to fly to war. The Hightower army, along with the Dragon Tessarion and Daeron, Alicent and Viserys' youngest son, begin marching west. The Winter Wolves, Cregan's army, cross the Twins into the south. Highland and Lohar sail towards the Gullet to face Corlys, Alyn, and the Velaryon fleet. In the Vale, Rhaenyra comes face to face with the Wild Dragon Sheepstealer. Otto Hightower also sits in a cell, possibly captured by Larys, or perhaps Mysaria or another player entirely, all while Aegon flees King's Landing.